And welcome back, all five of you. We are going to be making another night navigation video because that last one had very bad audio. Came in a little hot, so we're pretty much just going to remake that entire thing. It's a different map. I've got a different computer. It's a little slower, faster. Who knows how fast it was compared to my last computer, but let's see where we're at. We're at Mosdock. And there should be a little bit of rain tonight. And I'm going to fly from Mosdock to Sukhimi Babushara. And hopefully that gives us the option in the ATC control. So, first step, we're going to take off. And even before that, before the first step, we're going to assume that I actually know what I'm doing. And I've already performed the pre-flight checks. So, yeah, we're good to go. And rotate. And positive rate of climb indicated, gear up. I'm going to go ahead and climb to 10,000 feet. I'm also going to see if I can find Babushara. Look at that, F10. Okay, so we need to fly heading 246 for 170, and I've already done the short calculation. At 400 knots, I can fly 6.7 nautical miles in 1 minute. So we're going to go ahead and divide 170 by 6.7, and that means we should reach our destination in about 25 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and reach 10,000 feet, turn to heading 247. And I'm going to get up to 400 knots. Now this is really easy with the heads-up display. If you didn't have the heads-up display, you'd have to use all instruments, which we can use. It's just a little bit more difficult. And the heading indicator is a little bit more accurate on the heads-up display. So there's 247, and we're going to go ahead and start a timer for 25 minutes. And yeah, the rest of the flight here is pretty much paying attention to the instruments. We're also going to go ahead and assume that you can't see outside. Obviously, right now I have pretty clear weather. Hopefully it starts raining, especially once I get towards the airport, because it's going to be a little more difficult that way. But we're going to go ahead and assume that I can't see anything outside. And I'm going to go ahead and use the instruments. So you're going to be obviously paying attention to altitude. You're going to be paying attention to the artificial horizon, speed, heading indicator, and your vertical speed indicator, which right now it's a little fast. And confirm the gear did come up. Yes, it did. Okay. So I'm just going to continue doing this for about 23 minutes. And I'll get back to you when I get closer to the airport. Okay, we're approaching our destination, so we should get our visual clearance here in a minute or two. As you can see, my altitude increased to 19,000 feet. There were actually some mountains in the way that I didn't account for, so that's my fault. So I ascended to 20,000 feet, to get over those mountains. So that's just something you'll have to take into consideration. In this game, they won't give you updates on how close you're getting. So if you can't see the ground, you really don't know where the airport's at or how far away you are. Maybe a few minutes before you get to the airfield, you want to start descending. So this is when I'm actually going to start my descent. Obviously, before you do this in real life, you're going to look at terrain features. So obviously that's the mountain range behind me. I'm safe to descend. But yeah, obviously in real life you would know what your terrain is, and you'd be able to check your map and decide whether it was safe to descend or not. So I'm actually going to start my descent. I'm going to descend at a relatively good pace. I'm about 10 degrees nose down. And I'm going to back off the power. I'm going to try to keep right around 400 knots as much as possible. And I'm just going to keep this descent until about 7,000 feet. And if they don't give me the clearance by then, I'm going to stay at 7,000 feet on course until they do give me a clearance for visual. So we're just going to continue this descent rate, 10 degrees nose down. And the airport's actually at sea level, so we won't have to worry about any mountains over there. Okay, we're coming down through 8,000 feet. I'm going to start to level off. Go to 5 degrees nose down. And my speed's going to start coming down. So at this point, I'm not too concerned about the timing. And that's 7,000 feet, so we will level off. And still no clearance, so I'm going to check to make sure I'm, of course, way off course. So thank God this is a video game. I checked the map. So we're going to get back on course, get close to the airfield, and then we should receive our clearance then. But considering you do everything correctly, you should appear directly over the airfield to give you your visual clearance, and then you can find your way in. And that's all part of navigation. I believe I see the airfield out this way. Actually, I can see the runway right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start my descent for landing. They should give me my visual clearance before I get there, and then I can request a landing. So obviously I'm going to start my descent. It might be a harsh one. And our speed's rising, so I'm going to put boards out. And speed's leveling off, so board's in. And there's our visual clearance, so we're going to go ahead and request landing.
Request landing. Clear to land, runway 12, wind 068 at 6 meters per second.
Alright, there's our landing clearance, and I do have boards out again, because the flaps and landing gear will not deploy if you're above 250 knots, so. Boards back in. Flaps. Flaps indicate down, landing gear. And we're going to switch to landing mode. Landing gear indicates down. And from here it's a standard F-15 landing. So as you can see, we do have a bit of a crosswind, so thankfully the weather that I programmed for this game actually worked out. And there we go. We have a good landing speed. We're going to flare. And air brake until we reach 100 knots. And there it is. Touchdown. Engage brakes. And there's a little more correct F-15 night navigation tutorial in DCS World. Obviously, we don't have VOR domes, we don't have Vortex, we don't have ILS even. The ILS should work, but for some reason, these airports' ILS systems aren't working for me, so that'll be a different video for a different day if I can figure out how to do that. But yeah, this one was a little bit more correct. We landed at a correct speed. Unfortunately, we didn't have clouds this time, but hey, audio's better, landing speed was better. What more can you ask for? Thanks for watching.